Welcome everyone. Today I am going to discuss about National Tuberculosis Elimination Program. If you look at this very carefully, I have mentioned the term NTEP instead of RNTCP or Revised National Tuberculosis Control Program. You may ask me why. This is because only recently has the program goal been changed from control to elimination phase. This is in accordance to a particularly ambitious program by India along with the rest of the world. This is a very important chapter for you. It may come for the theory, your viva, and as physicians, you may need to treat tuberculosis patients because they are a very common case in India. I shall be trying to share with you the modules marked as particular places so that you can go through them. Try avoiding reading any textbooks for this program because most of the updates has not given in these textbooks. So let us start our class. The topics are, firstly I shall be discussing about the pathogenesis and impact of tuberculosis, which is in fact a recap of what you have already learned in your pathology classes and microbiology classes. I shall be discussing with you the patient flow that will consist of the screening of the patients, confirmation of diagnosis and treatment of the patients. I shall be then touching upon the program components. So firstly about pathogenesis of the tuberculosis. Source of infection. As you all know, tuberculosis is caused by the bacilli Mycobacterium tuberculosis. It is present very frequently in India and it spreads by droplet infection, by sneezing, coughing, etc. You have to keep in mind that tuberculosis bacilli do not stay on surfaces. Thus, here the restrictions like hand washing, sanitization of hand, not using utensils by the infected persons do not apply in case of other diseases like COVID or influenza. So the source only remains infected material from an infected person. As you all know, Indians are affected by tuberculosis by the age of 1, almost all Indians. That is why we do not give BCG vaccine beyond the age of 1 year, because there is no meaning of doing that. Tuberculosis enters the lung, there is a primary focus after a fight between body's immune system and the bacilli, and then the remnant remains until something happens that may cause post-primary TB. What may happen? There can be some distortions in lung architecture, like in smokers, like in case of people working in mines or silicosis patients. There can be also suppression of immunity of a patient in case of HIV, diabetes mellitus, undernutrition, etc. So all these things help to regenerate the tuberculosis infection already occurring in the body and causes post-primary TB. And this post-primary TB mostly occurs in the lungs, which is known as the pulmonary TB, and it can occur in almost all other parts of the body except nails and hair. So, being a physician in India, you must never forget TB as a differential diagnosis in any of the diseases. You must also remember a fact that this post-primary TB or this primary TB can be diagnosed by tuberculin test and IGRA test. So, if you do a tuberculosis test of a random person in India, most likely you are going to get that as positive. Now, on the risk of infection, I have already mentioned some persons who are at more risk of infection, and I shall be mentioning some other vulnerable populations soon. Now let us discuss about the impact of TB. Why we are so much worried about TB? As you can see from the 2018 data, India caters to 27% of the total global cases of TB, that is 2.7 million cases. In 2018 itself, 4,40,000 people died of TB in India. And you can well imagine that even in this pandemic, the death of TB in India per month is much higher than what is happening due to COVID infection. So you can well imagine the burden of TB in India. Besides, there are some other special issues also, like MDR TB, pediatric TB, and HIV TB. I shall be coming to them soon. Firstly, I would like to discuss about HIV co-infection with TB. HIV and TB goes hand in hand because of the immune suppression occurring due to HIV. So, all HIV patients are now screened for tuberculosis, and all TB patients are screened for HIV. The other important part is pediatric TB or TB occurring in childhood, where there is a high chance of severe TB infections like miliary TB or TB meningitis. Besides, I would like to mention about drug resistance TB as a very peculiar problem, because often the TB patients do not take drugs in the adequate amount, or they get lost to follow up, especially in the private sector, and thus resulting in drug resistance TB. This not only increases the duration and cost of treatment, but also has a poorer prognosis than pulmonary TB. Besides, I would also like to mention about the socio-economic impact of TB. TB causes a huge loss of dailies and productivity of workforce, because it mostly affects people of productive age group, that is 15 to 45 years of age group. In this situation, they are the breadwinners of their family, and thus having TB will not only destroy them but may also destroy their family. Besides, for treatment of TB, there has to be loans taken from several persons which occurred previously. Now, a little bit of patient flow of TB. So, this diagram I have shared from the TB module which has been recently launched. Firstly, a patient will be entering the system in some way. I shall discuss about how the patient will enter the system in a short period of time. A TB suspect will be then sent for laboratory for diagnosis, and if diagnosis comes to be positive, treatment shall be imparted to the person, and follow-up is a very important integral part of the patient in case of tuberculosis, because you need medicine for 6 to 12 months. So let us try to look at the points of entry of the patient into the system. Most of the cases will report to a medical officer as symptomatics or chest symptomatics. They will report voluntarily. It has been seen that in a general practice, around 2% of the cases coming to the GP will be coming as chest symptomatics. Besides, there can be also intensified case finding, that is, there can be the medical officer trying to look for high risk cases. He will look for high risk cases in case of ART center, diabetic clinic, NCD clinics, etc. Also, in vulnerable population, there can be active case finding. Here, the community health workers will seek TB symptoms among vulnerable key populations. The program is encouraging active case finding as an intervention for ending TB. So that brings us to the segment where we need to know who is a TB suspect or whom do we test. So I am coming to two definitions now. I shall be coming to the other two definitions later. The four definitions are presumptive pulmonary TB, presumptive extrapulmonary TB, presumptive pediatric TB, and presumptive MDR TB. So the presumptive pediatric TB and presumptive MDR TB I shall be discussing later. Now let us discuss only about presumptive pulmonary TB and presumptive extrapulmonary TB. Presumptive pulmonary TB refers to a person with any of the symptoms and signs suggestive of TB, including cough for 2 weeks or more, fever for 2 weeks or more, significant weight loss, hemoptysis, any abnormality in chest radiograph. Look at the symptoms very carefully. There are 5 symptoms: cough for 2 weeks or more, fever for 2 weeks or more, significant weight loss, hemoptysis, any abnormality in chest radiograph. Besides, the following cases can also be investigated as presumptive PTB: contacts of microbiologically confirmed TB patients having cough for any duration, presumptive or confirmed extrapulmonary TB having cough of any duration, HIV positive patient having cough of any duration. So whenever you see such a patient in your outdoor, do not forget to refer the patient for seeking a confirmatory diagnosis for TB. Besides, for extrapulmonary TB, symptoms are varied. You all know that the commonest extrapulmonary TB is again in lung, that is in lung pleura, followed by lymph nodes, pain and swelling in joints, neck stiffness, disorientation, etc. So the extrapulmonary TB symptoms will depend essentially on the site which it has affected and the duration, but there are some cues to diagnosis like significant weight loss, persistent fever for 2 weeks or more, or night sweats. So by now you have been able to find out what are the symptoms of a presumptive TB and which cases you will refer for further evaluation. Now I am coming to this setting, which is the vulnerable group, or which is here you can do an active or intensified case finding. There can be clinical suspects like clients attending HIV clinic, people having substance abuse, having diabetes mellitus, malignancies, etc., healthcare workers. There can be social suspects like prisoners. Being in a prison increases the chance of contamination of TB. There can be people working in mines, coal industry, sandblasting, where there is a high chance of silicosis. There can be people in congregate settings like night shelters, de-addiction centers, old age homes. Besides, geographical suspects are places where people cannot reach the healthcare center properly, like indigenous and tribal populations in hard to reach areas, urban slums, etc. So now I would like to discuss something about the diagnostic tools of TB. By and far, you will try to do a microbiologically confirmed TB, because if it is microbiologically confirmed, then you are convinced about your diagnosis, and you can also be sure about the prognosis and the follow-up of the patient, whether he is improving or not. In those cases where you cannot confirm a patient microbiologically, you have to make him a clinically confirmed or clinically suspicion of TB, but here the prognosis becomes dubious and doubtful. So the gold standard of test of TB still remains sputum smear microscopy for AFP. You can do Ziel-Nielsen staining, which we have already learned during your microbiology classes, and fluorescence stainings are often found in tertiary level healthcare centers like in Archikar Medical College, which will give you a better yield, and the strength of the technicians are also reduced. Besides, nowadays there are culture methods. You all know about the solid Lewontin-Jensen culture media, and there are also liquid culture media like Bactec MGIT. More importantly, you need to know about rapid molecular diagnostic tests, like you can do CBNAT or GeneXpert, which is present in most of the districts and most of the hospitals by now. It can diagnose TB within 2 hours. It operates by the principle of PCR amplification. Also, line probe assay for MTB complex is being extensively used to detect drug sensitivity, like RIF and INH resistance can be seen by first line LPA, and FQ and SLI resistance can be seen by second line LPS. With this, I am ending my today's lecture, and I shall continue with the management of TB in the next lecture. Thank you.